You're listening to the Minutes on Growth podcast, the show that brings you mindfully curated insights into relationships, spirituality, personal development, and everything in between, with your host, Tannaz Hosseinpour. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Minutes on Growth. Today, I have the lovely Helen Tucker with me. She's the founder of Women Talk Today and a wonderful, wonderful business and career coach. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you, Tannaz. It's so good just to be here and to see you. You look beautiful as ever.
You look beautiful in that yellow dress. I wish people could see it. You look like the sunshine. So wonderful, which is, representation of your personality. You're such a ray of sunshine. So love it. So tell us a little bit about Women Talk Today. What is it for listeners? And why did you decide to start it?
Wow, that's a journey in itself. So Women Talk is an organization that allows women to connect with one another. And we were established in the UK. We were established in 2013 as a community interest company. So when I came over to Dubai, I obviously went into a full-time job. And within that role, the day-to-day issues, challenges, and I've always had this connection in terms of developing women, giving women a voice. So when I arrived in Dubai, I actually lost my way a little bit. So I thought, well, how do I get back on path to really find my passion and purpose? And it's always been women's development. So I decided to launch Women Talk UAE as a meetup group. And it has been phenomenal in terms of what we offer. We have monthly meetings on a face-to-face basis. We've organized retreats. We have now just started to do our podcast. So in March 2019, we actually launched Women Talk. And to date, we have 982 women who are members of the meetup group. And we've established a WhatsApp group as well. So it's going really, really well. I'm quite pleased.
Amazing. I mean, that's how I met you. So I'm so grateful for the meetup group. And it's just been so amazing for me to be a part of your journey and to see your vision come to life. So I am so glad that you started that. And for anyone who's listening in Dubai, I definitely recommend joining the Women Talk group because it's just, I feel like it's a community of women supporting women without any jealousy or I don't know, there's no negative feeling, there's no negative vibes. And I love that. I wish more women around the world could have similar communities because as you said, it's so important to give women their voice, a platform to use their voice actually. So tell me a little bit about women empowerment. Why is it so important to you?
I think it's a journey for all of us, for all women. And the type of women that have joined Women Talk have been from all over the world. You've just mentioned, having women from different corners of the globe. And that's what's so special about Women Talk, because we have women from Kenya, we have women from Ghana, East Africa, West Africa, Europe, UK, US. And it's so amazing when all of them share their story. So in relation to women's empowerment, it's actually a forum where women can support each other. They support each other in ways of sharing their own stories. So recently, we developed a chapbook, and it's a compilation of women's stories, the challenges and the issues that they've gone through. And I'm just so grateful that you've given me this platform because I know you've been involved in Women Talk and shared your story, and we've collaborated on retreats as well, because it's so important for women to have that voice and to also be supported in terms of developing their confidence, for them to be motivated and inspired by other women. And my philosophy is if you can share your story, then that story can save a life. And my mission statement is learning to believe in yourself gives inner strength to achieve the impossible.
I love that. I love that. You mentioned confidence. And I think that's a big one, especially for the younger generation, right? We see the negative side effects of platform like social media platforms, and it can really hurt confidence levels if you're not aware of how to navigate through it. So, what would be some of your tips for women to help them boost their confidence?
I think for the younger girls and younger generation, we have a few young people who are part of our WhatsApp group. And for me and for the other ladies, when they do share their stories or they do share their successes and their achievements, it actually has an impact on those who are younger because they can see how they could navigate, as you said, their ways through their own careers, any issues that they may come up against, any obstacles, and how the other ladies can share some of those challenges and how they've overcome those challenges, which increases the confidence of not only the whole group, but for the younger ones as well, because we're all role models. You're a role model, I'm a role model. So whatever we say, whatever we share has an impact on the younger generation. From our meetups, we've had meetings that look at image and the perception of women in today's society, and especially, as I said, social media, because it's it can be quite damaging and it can have a negative impact on the young minds in terms of how they see themselves and how other people see them. So Women Talk is all about us talking about those issues, about how people look at us, how we communicate with one another, how we elevate one another. And that's why a lot of the women feel safe. I've had feedback from women saying they feel safe to share their issues because they're not being judged. And that's quite important for our young people as well.
I love that. And I think as we share stories, people who have similar stories feel as if it's okay to have that situation happen to them, right? So, like, there are other people around the world going through what I'm going through, so I'm not alone. I think that itself gives people, it's a comforting feeling knowing that you're not alone in this world, and people understand you. Sometimes we feel as if no one understands us, and we're the only ones experiencing this. So when I'm so glad that you've created this platform, because you jump on and you're like, okay, I'm not alone. There's another person on the other side of the world going through exactly what I'm going through. So there is hope. It builds hope. I love that. Okay, so talk to me about business and career coaching. What does it entail, and why do you love it? And how did you end up becoming a business and career coach?
My background is in teaching, training, lecturing, and also I've run a couple of businesses in the past. So for me, it's actually empowering other women to do the same. So I have a wealth of skills and experience that can help other women start on their own business journey, and also looking at taking control of their career. So back in 1996, I actually took time out for myself to really look at where I was going, my career, juggling family, children, and it wasn't an easy journey, but I needed to just take that time out to find out where I was going. And I wasn't happy at the time. Even though I enjoyed teaching, I really felt demotivated. I felt stuck where I was. And I also thought there was more to life than what I was going through. And I wanted to give more. So for me, it was having that insight of where I was going. So I created what is now the award-winning career development program. And it goes through 6 steps of who influences you. We're all influenced by something, by someone, what we see on TV. That has an impact on our decisions that we make in life, our career decisions, our life decisions. Then I went through a whole process of, well, who's around me? What resources and people do I have? What skills could I employ to develop my own career? So going through all of these steps myself, it was a revelation because I was now taking control of my career, and it enabled me to look at where I wanted to be in 5 years, in 10 years. So what I actually did all those years ago was actually put together a vision board. And I know that's quite popular now, but it actually works. When I look back on my vision board, it everything that I put down there actually transpired. It manifested itself. I wanted to have the holiday home in the Caribbean. I wanted to
Wow.
travel to so many countries, and it came to life. So having a vision, having that self-belief in myself enabled me to help other women. And the career development and the business coaching came together. So for me, it was about developing my professional acumen in career and business development, being an expert in those fields, and having that search for meaning. So whatever I do has a meaning in itself, has a purpose, because I'm quite passionate about women's development. So the business and coaching career for me is something that I've always enjoyed doing, and it just helps others, and I'd like to leave an impact and live a legacy and leave a legacy.
I love that. Live a legacy and leave a legacy. That's amazing. Okay, you mentioned vision boards, and I'm obsessed with vision boards as well. But my question to you is, do you update, like, how often do you update your vision board? Like, people have so many detailed questions about vision boards, and I'm always amused at like how different people go about it. So what's your take on it? How do you do it?
I have a vision board which sits on my dresser. So when I get up in the morning, I look at it. It's the first thing I see. I give thanks. I'm grateful for getting up, and then I see my vision board. And in terms of updating it, I look at it and then look at the accomplishments. So if I've said, okay, the next year I want to grow Women Talk to 1,000 members. If I've achieved that, then that's amazing. I just really sort of like tick that off. I update it probably every 6 months, to be honest. I look at it and then think, okay, what have I achieved? How have I rewarded myself in achieving that vision? Because it's that belief. And even though I'm putting action towards achieving those goals, I think the biggest part is believing that I can achieve it. And I think that is most important in whatever we do, is really looking at, well, if I'm wanting to organize these meetings or retreats or collaborate with others, then I need to believe it in myself. And it's having other people in your network to actually believe in that vision as well.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned that you celebrate your wins. I mean, sometimes we get so preoccupied with the journey of actually accomplishing it that when we accomplish it, we don't take time to recognize that accomplishment. So thank you for raising awareness to that. And I had a question. Have you ever had something on your vision board and then, months later or years later, realize that it's no longer aligned with your highest vision for your own life? Like, can this happen where you just like, okay, I wanted this 5 years ago, I just don't want it anymore?
Um, that's an interesting question, actually. I'm thinking of my goals that I've achieved, and some of them, yeah, probably I've had certain goals that's taking me in a different direction, which was a complete surprise. But then once I've gone on that journey, it's like, okay, so this is why I'm here. It wasn't because I wanted this, it's because I needed to go through this to satisfy this goal or to help other women achieve their own goals. So sometimes the goal is there, but then I've taken a different path.
Oh, I like that. And I like finding meaning regardless of where you go, right? And there's always a reason. I always say nothing is a coincidence. Everything is divinely orchestrated. We just need to be open to seeing that the beauty of change and the beauty of something different. I love that. Okay, so my question to you is, whenever I see you, you're always in the highest spirits, like you just exude positivity. And I know that it takes, I wouldn't say it takes effort, but we need to nourish our soul to get to the place where we're always at that high vibrational frequency. So what are some things that you do to get you to that high vibrational state?
I think for me, it has been a really, really positive journey in terms of my life. And I look back and I think, wow, I've achieved certain things. But then there's always been the dips, and we always go through those highs and lows. So for me, some of the dips in my life have been health issues. Last year, I went through a really sort of dip in my health. I was diagnosed with lymphoma. It's a form of cancer. So after being diagnosed and treated, it made me really, really celebrate my life. And although I had some achievements, it made me just think about all the little things that I've taken for granted. And it allowed me to celebrate even more. I am motivated by gospel music. I'm motivated by people who are quite positive. And I love what you do because I receive your newsletters and your inspirational quotes, which for me, it's quite important. And I know this is for other women as well, because I've had feedback from other women from the group who've said, even though I don't say anything in the group, but what you share, what you give in the group really inspires me. So for me, it's being appreciative of life and living every day as if it was my last day, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
I love that. I love that. I mean, just being in the present moment and being appreciative. I mean, appreciation is one of the highest vibrational frequency emotions out there. So, yeah, thank you for raising awareness to that. Okay, so I want us to end this with some tips that you might have for women who have been struggling these past couple of months. Maybe they've been, in lockdown alone. Maybe they might felt as if they're alone. And how can they find their community? How can they find their passions? How can they find their purpose? That's too many questions, but but just some tips for people who have been feeling down lately, because it's been hard for a lot of people during the pandemic. It's been something that no one else has experienced ever before in history. So, my heart goes out to a lot of people. Fortunately, I had my family nearby and I had my partner, so I wasn't alone. But for people who were alone, my heart goes out to them. What tips would you give them now that the world is slowly opening up, and how can they find their mojo again?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because even the word lockdown, mentally, it can actually keep you in one place. So what I would advise is to connect with other people, whether it be on a WhatsApp group, Facebook group. There's so many groups out there that women or even individuals can actually connect and be a part of. And also to share their own story, because as you said earlier on, we're all going through something. And sometimes when we do share our story, it can help someone else. So some of the tips I would say is to connect with other groups. And Women Talk, we're always open to increase our membership. So we have a number of women in the group who could help, whether they're recruiters, if you've lost their job, if you've lost your job, if you want career change, if you're looking at starting up a business. Also, it's trying to find what you're interested in. And you mentioned about finding your passion and your purpose. Sometimes it's just being still and thinking about, what do you want from your own life? Where are you heading? And the vision board is a really excellent tool to use. Even if you don't know how to do a vision board, it's just to write things down. Because when you write things down, you have that commitment. So small things I would suggest writing things down in terms of what you want, what you don't want, and being connected to community groups, sharing your own story as well, and looking at how you can make those connections.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Helen, for sharing your time, sharing your tips, your insights, and for really creating Women Talk today and opening it up to women all around the world. So if you're listening from Canada or anywhere in Asia or Africa, please feel free to join the group. It's a wonderful, wonderful group. And there's so much going on online now, which is amazing because it's made it more global. So thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much, Tannaz, for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Speak soon. Thank you for joining us this week on Minutes on Growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, then make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now.